Hello, my name is Matthew, and last night I finished The House of Ulloa by Emilia Pardo Bazán. It's the cover of a brilliant novel, a Spanish novel, a Galician novel. It's set in Galicia, and not only was it terrific, it had one of the best, most satisfying endings of a novel I've read in some time. The conclusion was exciting and surprising and tense. The last 30 pages, 20 pages were absolute page turners. It was the best feeling. That feeling at the end of a book where you're just racing through it, and there's payoffs. It's really that the novel is working on every level. One of the best endings of a novel. The novel itself, which was terrific. It's at first it seems like it's going to be a domestic drama. At first we meet the priest. The priest is on the cover. The priest is priest Julian, and he's the first character that we meet. He's this feckless priest, feckless, hapless, over his head. That at first doesn't seem quite competent. Probably more accurately, is out of touch, and he's coming from some other part of the country, some other part of Spain, um, into Galicia to work at this house. It's um, better to think of it as a manor or an estate. And we meet him bumbling on this horse that's just carrying him away. And it's our first, it's our introduction to this character, and it's such a great symbol for his character throughout the novel, just wrestling with something that he can't control. And we get just such a great introduction into this particular region of Spain, the northwest region of Spain. We get beautiful descriptions of landscape in Galicia, and the people that he meets. He's on this horse and he's lost. He's asking people, "How do I get to the House of Ulloa?" And they're giving him vague, barely helpful directions, just sort of in the general vicinity, giving directions as if the kind of directions that assume knowledge. He finally makes it to this manor house, and he's met with gunshots. Not that anyone's shooting at him, but there's a hunting party, and the priest Julian is often described as this effeminate, and it's supposed to be derisive, as an effeminate priest, and he meets the head of the household of this manor. It's Don Pedro. We also meet Primitivo, who, at least with the English translation, matches his barbarism. Primitivo is this barbaric man, and there's the the woman servant of the house, Sibel, and this wild animal of a child. The, the the first big interaction with all of these characters is this astounding set piece. There's going to be a dinner. This is a lively, rowdy bunch that live in this house. They are rough edged and gruff. They're hunters and landowners. They can be cruel and outrageous. And this feckless priest is trying to take it all in. He has duties that um, he'll be doing at this house, and so in some ways he needs to get a sense of these people and not be too judgmental. And there's this child running around, a young child that can run around and talk a little bit, but still a very young child. And they're having dinner, and there are glasses of wine, and the child picks up one of the glasses of wine, takes a sip, and the people around the table kind of laugh about it. A little child had a little sip of wine, and child comes back over and has not just a sip, but a gulp, and then grabs a cup and drinks a cup of wine, and they're all laughing. This goes on for a little bit, and this little child is now drinking what could possibly be a slight amusement. A little sip of wine has now turned into something of concern, and Priest Julian stakes his ground and says, this is too much wine for a child. Children shouldn't be drinking wine. He's going to get sick. And he's standing up declaring this. Seems to be out of character for him from what we know. And Primitivo picks up the child, picks up a bottle of wine, staring him dead in the eyes, and just starts pouring this bottle of wine down the child's gullet until this small child is completely incapacitated in his arm, just staring at him like, you're going to tell me what we can do in this house? It's just this incredibly tense, chilling, spine-chilling moment. Like, who are these people? What kind of house are we in? How is this priest going to be dealing with this? And this house is full of dark secrets, and the novel has a lot of Gothic overtones. There's psychological drama going throughout the novel. We start meeting other characters, and what's what was so well done in this novel is we don't just spend time with the priest and then have episodic adventures with him. The camera eye of the novel really moves around, and we start getting relationships, spending time with each character, like this panoramic ensemble cast, and all of these relationships and all of these situations that come up build on top of one another. And as you're reading it, you might be thinking, well, where is the novel going? Who are we following? There's the female servant, Sibel, who has these sexual overtures that she's directing towards the priest Julian, falling on his, being in his quarters and falling on his bed and lounging back and saying, I'm not really feeling well, can you take a look? And the priest having to throw her out. We learn the parentage of the young child, and at first it seems like this wild animal of a creature, this little child that's running around the house. He often disappears. He's stealing things in the pantries. No one's really taking care of him. But it's actually quite sad. And the novel does such a good job of, depending on the perspective and what's happening, how each character makes you feel moment to moment. This little child running around stealing all the eggs out of the hen house, like this little rascal. He's starving. Primitivo is one of the most barbaric characters in the novel. Um, he's the father. The female servant is the mother. They're not married. Priest Julian finds this out and is just beside himself that he's now working in this house of sin. Primitivo eventually marries his cousin, Nucha, who is just positively this good character, nearly holy character. It's the character of goodness. There's not much consideration about how they're cousins. That was relatively typical in these 19th century novels, apparently also in Spanish novels. And Primitivo pretty quickly says, well, he wants a boy. Our family has boys, so we're going to get married and you're going to have a boy. And the novel takes place over the vast bulk of the novel. The action takes place over a couple of years, and so we spend a lot of time with these characters and really see them grow. There's a childbirth scene, and it's prolonged. It's scary at times. How a lot of the characters in the household are reacting is alarming. But there's a child, and it's a girl. And immediately, Primitivo becomes just dismissive. This little rascal, the other boy, is still running around the house. Don Pedro, the head of the household, is also witnessing all of this. And there's a good section of the novel that almost turns into this domestic drama, this really tense, tragic domestic drama happening just in a household. It's just rooms in a house. The novel starts getting bigger, and it becomes a little bit of a political novel. We have Don Pedro running for governorship or something like that, some position. And at this time, we've seen him go from a prosperous landowner to a very prosperous, despotic landowner. When the child is born and they need a woman that can breastfeed, he just goes off and says, snatch someone that can breastfeed. Just go out and bring somebody. That kind of level of despotism. Like we need somebody that can nurse the child, whether they want to or not. That's now what they're going to do. He's running for office, and we have a section that's political and larger scale. Still reading it and thinking, well, how do these things tie in? What kind of novel is this? How is it going to end? I do believe the more you know about Spanish history or Spanish government or Spanish politics, especially at the time, and how it affects region to region, all of that would greatly improve your enjoyment of that section. I enjoyed it, but it was not necessarily surprising, but I was thinking, well, when are we going to get back to the house? Nucha, the woman that had the little girl, she's now in the house. This wild animal, I can't remember his name. It's Perucho. That's the little boy, the bastard child. Perucho loves the little baby. The priest, Julian, loves the little girl. And we see these transformations, the way the priest has become overwhelmed and overcome with joy and feelings of love, possessiveness, and wanting to make sure that the, goodness in this world can stay good for as long as it can. Things should stay pure for as long as they can, even in all of this mess. And there's a moment where Nucha, the mother, is seeing the rascally boy who has dirty hair and wears rags and is barefoot and hasn't been bathed and caked in dirt and grime. Seeing him interact with the little baby, which they get along so well, it occurs to her who the mother and father is of this child, this crazy child that's running around the house. And she's aghast, realizing the baby and the little boy are related, what the involvement of the female house servant is, and Primitivo, and how Don Pedro is allowing all of this to happen, and the priest, the priest Julian, by being there, is making it permissible, and he's lying about it. He's this feckless character. I was impressed by how realistically drawn all of these characters are. These aren't archetypes or cartoonish, waggish characters. They're not one-dimensional. They are realistically drawn and surprising. Now, the ending of the novel, I can't spoil. I'm not going to just give away how all of these things tie up and why it was so satisfying, but it's really one of those situations where, as you're reading it, you see like threads off of a spider's web, all of these moments happening that coalesce, and as you're reading it, they all make sense and they fit together, but it doesn't feel like just a single narrative going through episode to episode. It's all of these little things happening, and it pulls together in an exhilarating way. Such a well done conclusion to a novel. It's terrific. I would love to read more by Emilia Pardo Bazán. I'm not sure what else is available for me in English. A fantastic novel. I loved it. And a lot happens. A lot more happens. But that's what I'll say. It was really good, and there are these Gothic, psychologically intense parts that. Anyway, I'll just say that last night I finished The House of Ulloa by Emilia Pardo Bazán, and I loved it. Let me know if you've read it. Please leave a comment if you'd like about anything I had to say, or about the novel, or Spanish literature recommendations, anything else I might be able to get by Bazán, anything at all that you would like to leave a comment about, please do. And thank you for watching, and take care. Bye.